Hey, good morning and happy Monday. I'm saying Monday because it has been a rough morning for me. So I'm trying to motivate myself to get up and get going. And I hope I can encourage you all to get up and get going on this Monday. This is Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm Crystal Moyer filling in. She'll be in later on this week. We have a lot to talk about today. Candace Campos is back from her spring break vacation. So we're going to dive a little bit into what she did with her family and weather, of course. We're going to check in with Trooper Steve to talk a little bit about your Monday morning traffic. And I know we've been talking about a viral video of the Carnival cruise where one of its funnels caught fire. Well, that same cruise ship, the same thing happened. So we're going to talk to Mark Lehman a little bit about that. He explains what Carnival is saying the cause of that second fire is and what it means for those who are planning on taking a cruise on that Carnival ship in the future. Plans may be canceled. Also, we're talking about salaries. I mean, obviously, we've seen historically women have been receiving less of a percentage of a salary than their male counterparts. So we have a former law attorney in the House to talk a little bit about some tips and tricks that she has for women, what the reason she thinks of the pay gap there. And also she has a book out that can help you out if you're a woman, maybe a minority, looking to negotiate a salary for your next job. And schemes and ripoffs, we've been always checking in with Mike Holfeld. He's keeping us on track to avoid becoming victims of any of these schemes. We're talking about deep fake AIs. I know you've probably seen some videos online of maybe some celebrities saying things or giving shout outs to people that they've never met. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. And UCF, where all my nights at, some new plans to revamp their stadium in the works. We're going to tackle that. And also a new baby sloth was born at a local zoo. We're going to see some video of this baby sloth and talk about why he or she has no name yet. All right, let's kick things off with meteorologist Candace Campos on your Monday morning. Welcome back.
Yay!
Yay!
Good to be back.
How was your vacay?
Oh, it was nice. It was the first time we took, as a family of four, it was the first time we went on a vacation out of Florida. Because there's always so much fun stuff to do here in Florida that you don't really need to go anywhere. But we wanted to do a trip to kind of like the Blue Ridge, North Carolina.
Ooh, so snow.
Well, we did see snow at the tippy top of some of the mountains, but we didn't go up there. But it was cool enough. The kids probably thought it could snow. It was like the 40s and 50s, so it was nice. It's cool. We did hikes to different waterfalls.
Wow.
We did zip lining. We did a lot of eating. And just a really good time. The kids loved the little road trip, and it was just nice. It was nice to kind of unplug. And then we came back a few days ago, so we had a couple of days to kind of get back into the swing of things and get some stuff done around the house. So it was good.
Well, we're so happy to have you back, Candace.
Oh, thanks. And
we missed you.
Shout out to Michelle and Jonathan, who were super clutch and picking up the slack. Wow.
Holding the fort.
You got to. And it was funny because I was laying in bed yesterday and I was like, I should look at like the last week and see what the weather was here.
You weren't even in the States, so you got to catch up on what happened.
I had no clue. My husband and I decided to, it was one of those accidental things where I went outside because the kids wanted to play outside in the backyard, and I was like, oh God. And I put my finger over like the chair, and it was like all yellow. I was like, let me just clean this chair.
The pollen.
Let me clean this table. Let me clean the floors. Let me get the hose out. And then I ended up cleaning the entire backyard. But it was funny because my husband was like, is it going to rain today? Because we were trying to clean out the garage. I have no idea.
Don't ask. I'm off.
I opened the Pinpoint weather app and I listened in to what Samara and Michelle were talking about over the weekend. So
he should download that instead of using his wife as his personal Pinpoint app.
I am the worst meteorologist, though, when my husband has a question, because I'm like, I don't know. Just figure it out. Anybody else asks me, I Google and I look into it. He asked me, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, for those of us who didn't look at the Pinpoint weather app yet, because I haven't, tell us about the weather today and what we can expect in the next few days.
Yeah, it's going to be breezy this afternoon as we are going to continue to see the winds pick up out of the east, southeast, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Right now, out the door, we're mild, upper 60s, upper 50s, low 60s across central Florida. Now, the winds are going to be cranking up. You can see sustained up towards about 10 to 15 miles per hour today. And then again, another breezy day for Tuesday. Not as bad on Wednesday. So as we take you here throughout the next few hours, the breeze on average about 10 to 15, a little stronger along our coastline. By the way, we are going to see kind of rough surf today, high risk of rip currents, a high surf advisory. We have a small craft advisory for boaters out there. So not an ideal day if you want to be on the water. The pool, not a bad idea if you don't mind it freezing, if you don't have it heated. But temperatures for today are going to be into the upper 70s, which is right where we should be for this time of the year. Then as we progress over the next few days, Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll see some more rain. We'll stay dry. The winds will come out of the south, so we are going to see more heat. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s Tuesday and Wednesday, but we'll stay dry until late Wednesday night and into Thursday. We'll have a front that turns a little stationary early Wednesday. We'll have an area of low pressure kind of pick up the rest of that front and bring it into central Florida. So it's looking like a late Wednesday, early Thursday kind of rain event there. Some scattered showers, and a big old ridge builds in behind it. Fantastic looking weekend. Speaking of weekend, Easter Sunday. This, of course, is still very far out, so we're going to obviously iron out some of the details as we progress throughout the week. But temperatures for your Easter Sunday will be into the upper 70s. Still tons of sunshine. For those going to the sunrise services, it might still be a little bit on the cloudier side. But of course, and we'll get a better idea of those details as we get closer in. But overall, not a horrible 7-day. We'll have warmer weather for those who like it in the mid-80s Tuesday and Wednesday. A little bit of rain helps bring down the pollen for about a day on Thursday. Cool things down back into the 70s Friday and Saturday. It looks like the weekend as of now looking dry. So looking good. Feeling very spring-like for the next couple of days. We have these spring fronts don't really pack much of a big punch like they did back in the winter, but hey, we'll take those 70s on Friday.
Okay. And I know I'm going to bring back a conversation we had earlier. If you were watching the morning show, because I told everyone it was a struggle for me today. I'm not even going to lie. So we talked about our alarms on our phones, and I have several alarms. I know you and Steve do too. So do you mind sharing some of those with us? I'll share mine. So I have 3 alarms in the morning. The 2 o'clock says almost time. 2:30 says get up now. 2:45 says, uh-oh, you closed your eyes. Because you know sometimes like that alarm goes off and then you just blink and like 15 minutes went by.
Let me look. I'm going to open up my clock. You might not see me right now. Mine is at 2 a.m. It says, wake up.
Yeah.
2:15, let's go. 2:30, get to work. And then by 4 o'clock, it's like, got your face on.
I love it. Oh, okay.
And I do have a 7:25 Bridgett alarm too. That's
See, you never miss it. I love it. I never have to remind you. You are here and you are prompt.
The best is when my husband had we were in North Carolina, and my phone was on his side of the bed where the charger was, and the alarm went off at 2. And then
on vacation.
Shut it off, and then I went back on at 2:15. Shut it off, thinking like this is the last one. And I was like, you might want to turn off those alarms. They're gonna go off till about 7:30.
That's so funny. Oh man.
But the terrifying part is putting them all back and making sure that you put them back before.
Like waking up every 10 minutes when you go to sleep. Like, is it on? Is it?
Did I do it? Did I do it? Yeah. Very motivational. We have motivational. We're what we need to start doing is every once in a while we'll trade phones and add little messages.
I love it. Let's do it. We'll start it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know, right? All right, Candace, thank you. You can catch her. She'll have some cut-ins on News 6, and also you can catch her anytime on clickorlando.com/weather. You're on there 24/7.
It's taped.
She never goes away. All right, so I'll check in with you later. Thank you so much, Candace. Bye. All right, so we're going to continue on with this whole alarm thing. So let's bring in Trooper Steve because he's got some interesting alarms on his phone as well. Good morning, Steve. Hey, what's up?
Good morning. Oh, I'm dying over here because I thought I was the only one. But then you and I are on the anchor desk and we both show our phones and 2 o'clock mine's like wake up. 2:10, time to get up now. 2:30, today's not gonna be easy. And then the 2:45 one says, I swear it says this, it says you cannot blame anyone else for the results of today.
Oh,
Because
no.
if it's because like you wake up and you get grouchy. It's like, no, you had six alarms getting you ready to go. So obviously you need to get going. But it takes a lot to get us going.
It
Not a
does.
lot of people understand that, Crystal.
I
Not a
know.
lot
And
of people get
sometimes,
it.
like, even my husband's like, why do you have so many alarms? Like, why don't you just have one alarm and get up? And I said, well, I like to get myself out of a deep sleep and then still give myself time to, like, lay in bed.
Says the guy that works in news but doesn't have to be on the camera at
Right.
all. So I don't want to hear anything he's got to say right. I'll go visit him later and I'm gonna be like, listen here, bro.
Uh-oh.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But no, it was a fun time this morning. We were making it through. I'm so glad Candace is back. So that was
Yes,
nice.
you guys definitely helped me out this morning. So, of course, when it comes to traffic, you're in results one right now. So we'll talk a little bit about, what you're doing on patrol. But traffic, is there an issue still right now on this Monday morning?
Well, it's Monday, Crystal, so let's go right to it. So 408 westbound right now at Crystal Lake. That puts you at the 13-mile marker facing westbound, meaning Waterford Lake's behind you. We are bumper to bumper traffic here. Mix this with the morning commute and a crash also at the intersection of 408 and I-4. I don't have the complete details on that crash yet, but you can see the delays on 408 West all the way back to 417. And then we're starting to see some minor delays on I-4 East and westbound. Earlier crash at Lancaster and Orange Blossom Trail has been cleared out. And now the delays here along I-4 in Lake Mary. I know last week with our main spring break, so we got to see some thinned out traffic. Central Florida, we're back in business now. The rest of the country is going to be visiting us. So 25 minutes Kissimmee to downtown, 27 from Lake Mary. Those are Lake Mary delays, and they are thick. So please, no crashes out there, but increase your following distance. Earlier crash over by Dirksen has been cleared, but the delay is still hanging out. So once it sets in this morning, we're kind of stuck with it for about the next hour or so. Out in Sanford, Lake Mary area, northbound 417 at exit 49, which puts you at Ronald Reagan Boulevard. It's on the exit ramp, guys, so just make sure you're cautious. But we're checking out Daytona. We've been busy out here. Volusia County lifeguards, the sheriff's office, New Smyrna Beach. Real busy on the beaches. Candace watching those rip currents for us, but you need to be super careful. Right now, no traffic issues, and that's what we're always watching. I-4 westbound over by the attractions. Westbound would be the area that does not see the delay. Eastbound is just that routine delay right there. So this crash obviously clear. And then, of course, Reunion and Pleasant Hill. Man, my parents live off of Pleasant Hill, Crystal, and it
Uh-oh.
is a disaster all day. I did a reel talking about how miserable Kissimmee traffic was, and
Yeah.
even a few of the commissioners liked it. So I thought that was interesting. But right now, Pleasant Hill kind of slow. So just be careful this morning out there. Your drive times across Central Florida, not the best. Not horrible, but it is definitely a Monday out there. And it's going to be a cool Monday, Crystal, because I like starting Trooper Steve on patrols on Mondays with an
Hmm.
interview. So today,
Can I do your
having
theme
control
song?
over
Can I
my
do
own
your theme
schedule.
song real quick?
Go ahead. Go
Trooper
for it. Go
Steve
for it.
on patrol. Trooper Steve on patrol. Where's he going today?
That's a new one. That's a new one. All right. I wasn't ready for that one. Where are we going today? It's who am I welcoming in today? So Castleberry Police Department has a really active kind of community outreach. At least they're trying to. A buddy of mine who I've been friends with for many, many years recently got promoted to corporal and then reassigned to their public relations office. And he's doing everything he can to get themselves out, get the department out there. So he called me up and said, Steve, can you help me out? And I was like, yeah, man, I got a truck. Let's do this. So he's going to hop in today at 10 a.m. Corporal Saavedra, and just talking about the things that they're doing. We'll learn a little bit about him, his life as a law enforcement officer, and of course what he's hoping to do with the department and their outreach, which is going to be pretty cool. A little secret: he's got major dance skills.
Oh,
And now I don't know if you're going to catch him and I dancing today, but I will post on Instagram later. A few years ago, him and I went viral for
hmm
doing something similar to the electric slide, but he was in full uniform and he was killing it. So he's going to be jumping in. We're going to have a good talk. 10 a.m. clickorlando.com.
love it. And if you've seen Steve out, because I have, he's got some moves.
Crystal, stop. Crystal, stop.
He has
Stop.
got some moves.
Stop. That's enough. That's enough.
All right, we're looking forward to it. What time shall we tune in to New 6 Plus and click out?
That's gonna be at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
clickorlando.com.
All right.
Killing me.
Thank you so much, Steve. Be safe out there.
Bye.
All right, so let's get to some serious news here because over spring break, of course, the past couple of weeks, a lot of Floridians were on spring break and some may have been on this cruise ship. I'm talking about the Carnival Freedom. One of the funnels caught fire while it was sailing near the Bahamas on Saturday. So that ship is on its way back to Port Canaveral right now, and the damage was so bad that Carnival Cruise Line says they're going to have to cancel some of its cruises because of this. So News 6's Mark Lehman has a story on how this is not the first time that a fire has broken out on this very same ship.
Holy crap. That is not good. Why is our tail on fire?
Passengers were caught by surprise over the weekend on board the Carnival Freedom. The ship was near the Bahamas when its funnel caught fire, and witnesses reported that there may have been a lightning strike. Carnival's senior cruise director saying 2 crew members were treated for smoke inhalation as they worked to put out the flames. This is the second time the exhaust funnel on the Carnival Freedom has caught fire. In May 2022, flames erupted from the smokestack and the passengers returned to Port Canaveral on a different ship.
It was definitely a memorable vacation.
The Freedom going back into service last October after its funnel was replaced. With this latest fire, Carnival has announced cruises starting on March 25th and the 29th are canceled while the ship undergoes repairs.
That means thousands of passengers will have to figure out what they're going to do instead of taking that cruise. I know Mark said one of the cruises was supposed to actually leave out today or tomorrow. So not good news there, but I hope they get that fixed so that it doesn't happen again. Well, it is March, so it is National Women's History Month. So today we're talking about the ladies, specifically when it comes to the workplace and salary. So according to the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2021, the average salary of a full-time working woman is only 84% of their male counterparts. And for Black and Hispanic women, the gap is larger. So what's up with that? And what can you do as a woman to try to negotiate a better salary? I want to bring in Kelly Charles Collins. She's a retired employment law trial attorney and law firm partner. She's also the author of the book Convo Catalyst, the humanistic guide to ignite dialogue, shift perspectives, and cultivate change. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Crystal. I am so well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Now, we noticed that you have a pretty controversial take on the reasons for the wage gap when it comes to men and women. Explain that.
So I don't know that it's so much controversial, but we think about discrimination and sexism, right? So that's the systemic issues. But as women, we really have to understand what is our role in this, right? So when we think about what we're doing and not doing, whether we're speaking up or not speaking up, we know that there are the systemic issues, but there's also the role that we play in making sure that we do get the wage gap closed. And as you said, for Black and brown women, it's even more abysmal than it is for non-Black and brown women.
Mm-hmm. And when we're talking about negotiating salaries, I know it's a conversation a lot of us kind of hesitate to have, with our boss. And when we're negotiating, specifically women, what's the biggest issue that you think women have when negotiating that's not a positive and won't get them that raise?
The no. Nobody wants to be rejected. And I believe that because we are so programmed, society has programmed us as women to be quiet, to dim our light, to be shy. And so when we're negotiating and we get that no, it's that rejection. And that really puts us on our heels. And because of that, I believe that women are less apt to go after it. Men will just throw their hat in. They don't care. we want this salary, I'm going for it. They'll negotiate, and we are more apt to just take what it is that they say. Okay, well, this is the range, or this is what we're offering. We're more apt to just take that because I think the fear of rejection, and then what do I do next? So
Mm-hmm.
if they say no, then what do I do?
Right. So, what's the biggest hurdle, for women when advocating for themselves when they're negotiating a salary or talking to their boss?
Most of it, I believe, is around a lack of clarity. So, oftentimes, when we are going into these negotiations, I don't think we go in as a strategic mission to really think, okay, intentionally, why am I going after this raise? And so that I can now communicate that to another person because it's all rooted in our value. And if we haven't done the work to really understand who we are, which we're brilliant, women are powerful at our core, and we are amazing. But sometimes because we achieve and move on, we don't take the time to really take stock of who we are. And so when we go into the conversations, we're kind of on our back heels and not really understanding how to counter what's happening in the conversation. And so if we get a little pushback because we don't have the clarity around why we're in this conversation in the first place and a strategy to go around the roadblocks or to really address the objections, we come up against this. And so this is what's holding us back.
Mm-hmm. And now let's move to the skill. What is one skill that women can use to kind of elevate in the workplace, and how could they implement that?
Absolutely. To be a great speaker. So, we talk about public speaking being the number one fear in the world, even more than death, right? But whether you're in a C-suite, whether you're in mid-management, whether you're in lower level management, the ability to communicate, whether that's up, down, across, is really vitally important.
Mm-hmm.
And if we as women learn to really leverage our voices, and I always say leverage as opposed to like find your voice, because we haven't lost our voices, we have our voices. But if we learn to really strategically leverage our voices, then we will be in a better place because we've been told what? Be ladylike, be quiet,
Right.
all the things. So being able to really speak up and be a great speaker is paramount for women.
And then speaking of using your voice, tell us a little bit about how your book, Convo Catalyst, is empowering women to use their voice in and outside of the workplace.
Absolutely. So what it does is give you a real framework. I always talk about communication being an art and a skill. And in the book, we talk about the perfect framework. So it gives you a roadmap for getting into these strategic conversations. So P is to prepare for the conversation. E is to engage. What do we do when we're engaging and understanding that this is a dialogue and how to really, move through the conversation so it doesn't get derailed. And then the R is to reflect. Once the conversation is done, what do we do then? So example, if they said no, what do I do if they said no to my salary increase request? What's the next steps? And it's really just a process, but it helps you to strategize the mission from the very beginning through the end and also to keep it going.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great advice from Kelly Charles Collins joining us from Orlando this morning. How can we get in contact with you or learn about your new book?
Please go to kellycharlescollins.com. You'll find out everything that you need to know about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you for joining us here on Breakfast with Bridgett. We look forward to speaking with you in the future.
You're welcome. Thanks, Crystal. Have an amazing day.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So Mike Holfeld does a lot of stories about scams and ripoffs. And this one in particular has to do with deep fake AI. Have you seen videos online specifically with, celebrities or maybe someone, political figures, where they're saying things, but it's not really them saying it? Well, he spoke with someone about these deepfake AIs and how easy it is to create one.
I found some websites that for pennies, I was able to make some pretty realistic deepfakes. And I was shocked of how simple it was.
There is something I never spoke about publicly, but I feel like I can now. Chris Hadnagy is one of my best friends.
Chris Hadnagy, a.k.a. the human hacker and founder of Social Engineer LLC, was able to grab a legitimate Elon Musk interview and create a deep fake of Musk talking about a certain reporter.
He introduced me to Mike Holfeld at News 6 in Orlando, and he is my favorite reporter. I think he is the best.
Just to be on the record, you've never met Elon, and he's never watched Mike Holfeld.
I would love it if Elon Musk was my best friend and if he thought you were the best reporter on earth, but sadly I don't know the guy.
In 2023, incidents of AI deepfakes went up roughly 3,000%, according to London-based Onfido. Hadnagi is convinced that technology in the wrong hands could be destructive, especially in the world of business and presidential politics.
I mean, imagine if a video was released of the President of the United States claiming that there was going to be a war or that he was going to bomb a certain country. These things could happen now. Every day we're getting closer and closer to what feels like a movie, a sci-fi movie coming to life.
Mike Holfeld getting results, News 6.
That video may have been fake, but let me tell you, Mike Holfeld is one of the best, most just incredibly intelligent, hardworking reporters that we have. So you don't need an AI to tell you that. All right, so let's move on to something really cute. And this is an awe moment for you. So I'll give you a second to take a look at this video. Do you see it? Aw, it's a baby sloth just born at the Brevard Zoo. Officials say Sammy, the zoo's 18-year-old two-toed sloth, gave birth over the weekend. And, the new addition already out and about. But the zoo says they're going to have to hold off on naming him or her because until that baby's detached from mom, they don't know if it's a boy or a girl. So that's very cute if you are close or planning on visiting the Brevard Zoo. Very nice little sloth to visit while you're there. Well, that's all the time we have today for Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm Crystal Moyer filling in. Bridgett will be back later on this week. Don't forget, 8 a.m. we have Weatherwise with Jonathan Kegas. 8:30 we have Trooper Steve on patrol. He'll also be back streaming at 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you News 6 at noon.